Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Basement. I know it's been a while, but thank you for joining us again. I don't think we have any new members here, but I'll just reintroduce everybody, starting with we have Emily on the far left, followed by Kaylee.
Hello.
And then last but not least, we have Mr. Abraham.
Hello.
All right. Thanks for joining us today, guys. I'm glad you guys can make it. So for those watching, you might be looking at us and you might be seeing like, oh, there's like a little bit of diversity as far as like age ranges here. And the reason for that is because we wanted to talk about modern problems of teens today. Okay, so for starters, me and Kaylee have been out of our teens for long enough. We have Emily and Abraham here, however, who are still in their teens. What grades are you guys in?
I'm in 11th grade.
I'm a junior, so the same thing.
11th grade, that's what, 16, 17?
15.
15. Wait, is that? Okay. And then how old are you?
16.
16, okay. So I guess just to start us off, what are some, I guess, like issues that you guys see prevalent in your lives, in your high school lives, your social lives and whatnot? What would you say are some things, some problems, some situations you find yourselves in a lot?
Like maybe something you think is more unique to your generation, or something might be it just continues to happen.
I'd probably say either like the use of, I guess, like, I don't know, vaping or like drugs in a sense, because you're seeing in like news and stuff like kids like going to hospitals or dying because of the use of like drugs and stuff like that. Like I think one example is like the use of fentanyl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right now, people are like dying in the high schools. There was one close to my high school, actually. A girl died.
Wow. Why do you guys think there's such like a high, such a prevalence of like substance use your age?
I think it might. Well, honestly, I don't know, but this is like a guess. I would assume those students or children, whatever, that are using those substances. I guess they're like. I guess they don't feel like they're in support, or they're supported enough, so they, I guess, turn to something else that I guess they feel comfortable, but then often hurts them in like the end.
Like maybe mentally it stabilizes them. Like they feel that the drug or substance like helps like calm them down or makes them feel whole in a way.
So, you mentioned like you guys mentioned fentanyl. When we were growing up, it was honestly just like a lot of like marijuana, and then there's another synthetic form called spice. Fentanyl is like a huge step forward. Why do you guys think? Why do you think that it's like ramping up as far as like what's being used?
I don't know. I might be wrong on this. Isn't like, I guess, like certain substances are legal now or whatever. I might be wrong on that, but I think since those are legal, they're like, I guess, upping it, seeing what they can keep pushing forward to make more. So like so they can make more and more legal. So they keep pushing the boundaries and stuff. So like they can make, I don't know, other things more
Mediocre now, and we have to like step it up. In a sense.
Do you guys? Is it like to the point where you just see it, like in the locker rooms and like the hallways? Is it like that?
You could go into the bathrooms and like there's been stuff going on, like you could just smell it. That's pretty normal.
For my high school, you don't really see it. You can't really smell it because they're, not to be kind of gross, or your bathroom smell like urine. so you can't really smell it.
It's fair. That's accurate.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's I guess kids getting busted with it, going to the restrooms using it, but I don't know. You can't really smell it
Mm.
in our school.
Is there any like like faculty, I don't know, like presence, or are they trying to do anything about it?
At our school, we have drug dogs who check us. Like they come and smell every classroom. But other than that, no.
Mm. Ours doesn't really have something like that. Like we have police on campus as like our security, but we don't have like drug dogs or anything. But or we don't have like a, I guess, a team of counselors or something like that that go around like asking students. We more have a thing at our school, like it's called Texatip, where you, what's it called, you feel like you're, I don't know, I haven't used it, so I don't know how this works per se, but like based off how they've explained it, it's like they, it's like you text this number that they have posted around like on the schools, or like on like the flyers and stuff they have around school. You like text them, it's anonymous, so you text them, hey, like this person is doing so and so or whatever, and then they get it, they see if it's, based off what you said, is if it's like concerning that they need to act on it now, or that they can have like like a couple of months or so to discuss about it, see if it's very like major, and then they go for it. So just bases on the like, I guess, and I don't know, intensity of the situation.
Does that work?
Based off what they said, I have no idea because they don't actually have it like showing whatever, saying that it actually works. But they've said that it's worked a couple of times, and then they've been able to like at least, they've catch these students, like at least try to help them. I don't know if they've actually helped them, but
Hmm.
so.
Um, they kind of mentioned why they gave their opinions on why it's getting worse. Why do you think it's getting worse?
I think that I'm sure some of it is just as other things become legal and such, that also uh, drug sellers and things, they need new things to push onto kids, because kids are always an easy target. Because once you get kids, you almost got them for life, basically. But with other things becoming legal, they need stronger things to push onto kids, and unfortunately, teens and stuff become the victims of that, because they're all grouped in one place and they know where to find them. They make it seem cool.
It's not cool at all.
I know, but when you're old, we say, don't do drugs, it's not cool. Then we just sound corny, and then kids don't want to listen to us.
Yeah. Because I mean, honestly, like for us, it was, I mean, like the whole, I think one of you touched on it, like they're trying to fill something, trying to fill a void, maybe trying to numb like stressors that they have in their life, whether it's like parental or school, or in their circles, their friend circles. But yeah, I think like each generation that goes on, we're becoming like more numb to these things, just because of how prevalent they are. It's kind of like a catch 20, or like a endless cycle.
Do you guys feel like there's also, I don't, either you've experienced it or you've seen people that experience it, that there still is, even as cliche as it sounds, that pressure to be cool and fit in if someone's offering you stuff?
Yeah, I've it hasn't happened to me or any of my friends that I know of, because I don't really like try to push it and stuff, but I have seen like around campus, like I have like overheard conversation of saying like, oh yeah, let's go do this, whatever, and some kids like saying no, or some crap or something like that, and then they're like pushing back, whatever, and like they keep pushing onto them until like they force them to do it in a sense, and then I guess when they're like done experiencing whatever, they feel like they've been like, I guess, violated in a sense, and they don't want to do anymore or hang out with them, but they have no other choice to do. So I don't know.
Personally, I don't think I've seen that. I know some people who do drugs and they've tried to like influence their friends, But like these friends who like they say no, and the people who actually do the drugs are chill about it, but not pressuring it like Abraham has said.
I think I've seen both examples of that. Yeah.
I feel like that's like, at least for your experience, that's different than I feel like what we've seen. Just because, like, I mean, like vaping, like really started coming around like when we were like juniors or seniors.
I was offered lots.
You know, and everybody was like,
vapes
"Oh,
when I
just
was
try."
younger.
You know, like, you know, see, like everybody was like trying to
It's just
do all these
water
tricks.
vapor. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, it's just water
guys.
vapor. Yeah. How easy is it to gain access to like these things? You know, like the illegal substances. Is it super easy to get it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
They don't
Good.
know. They're good kids.
That's a good question. That's a good answer. You don't know? That's good. That answers my question. Kind of shifting topics here from illegal substance use. How important is self-image?
Like popularity.
Sure.
That I feel like is a major thing, because well, especially where I go, like obviously I go to Cerna, so it's like in like the I guess nicer area, so everyone there tries to fit in as like they're the better person, whatever, like the higher in like social, like I guess standard wise. But yeah, it's a major thing because all those I guess popular kids, whatever, they're have a bunch of people that know them, hang around them and stuff, and then yeah, and then there's people like I guess me, who just mind their own business, try to like get through, just focus on like what's important.
I think at my school we don't really see that like popularity. I think everyone's just pretty chill and minds their own business. Like nobody cares. Like you do your own thing. There's not really like, oh, there's this crowd that you just can't talk to, like like that.
You feel like the focus has shifted from, you know, if you try to be cool, that's not cool anymore.
Is it?
I think so. I think it's just like no one needs to attract attention to themselves. Like if you're doing that, then you're seen as weird.
Like a try hard?
Yeah.
I feel like that's different for us. I feel like over there, it's like completely different.
It kind of sounds like you guys have like very different like social settings.
Because
schools.
for us, it's mainly like the I guess popular kids are the sports teams. So like the football
I think that was
players,
the
like
case
football
for us,
players,
too.
baseball players, all that.
Yeah.
It's mainly them, and I feel like they get, I don't know, I just view it this way, treated differently than the other people, like just regularly going around through school, unless like you know one of them. So and then they're like probably chill about it, but other than that, it's just.
Is it like that where you go?
Everyone's actually pretty chill. It just depends on, I think, like your experiences, who you hang around with. Like I know certain classes, like we have our more like AP IB classes, like you won't see the whole like popular, like nobody cares. Like I think you're better off if you're like smarter, I guess, like maybe that, but not. It's not really like, oh, you're cooler because you play sports, like not a contest, like no one cares.
This is interesting. I have a question for both of you. I guess individually, but it could be anything. But when you're going like through your school day or throughout the week and stuff, do you have like one thing or a certain group of things that's what really takes up most of your mind, like that you worry about, whether it's trying to do your homework, whether it's trying to avoid or find certain people at school? Like, what do you feel like causes the most worry? What are you most concerned about when you're going about your day or your week?
For me, I feel like it's when I get home, do I have enough time to do everything? Because I know right now I am like getting jam packed with homework, especially from my history class. They're just putting loads and loads on me, and I'm not able to get to other homework from another class, so I have to push it off, and then it becomes late, and then I have to do that homework plus the other homework that's given me the same day. So then it becomes like a cycle and a hassle of everything.
I feel like similar to Abraham, like my mind's like usually on school, but it's like I think I like have just like battles inside, like oh, do I really want to do it? Like, do I have to? Like what are the consequences if I don't study or I don't do the homework? But like eventually I do it, but like do I want to? Is like what's going on?
How much free time would you say you guys get like in a week?
Mm, I'd say like a day, maybe around like either 2 hours to 1.5 hours. Because I usually go to, I guess you consider it early whenever I go to bed, like around 10. So I have like between like 8 and 10 or like 8:30 and 10 to do something. But if I don't have like, but if I have something else to do that I comes across my mind, it shortens the time. And then once I'm able to do it, I feel like I do the things I want to do, and it goes by so fast. It goes by faster than all the other times when I'm doing my homework or other things you do. So
Like 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours.
Do you guys just like, I don't know, like watch videos in that
Yeah, how
two
do you
hours?
guys
Because
like? How do you guys
that's not
like
a
to
lot of
spend your free
time.
time when you do have it?
I like to take naps.
Me too.
It's fair.
I'm more of after you're done with homework, I play video games. I'm like that type of person. I like to usually spend my time on that, play with like friends and stuff from others from my other school, like other schools that are there, or some that are from my school, depending, or some from here as well. Like on there, I usually sometimes play with them and just try to have a like good time on it if I can.
I remember when I was younger. Sometimes I just didn't think about it, but then I would get worried about it that I didn't know what I was gonna do after high school and things like that. Do you guys feel like that's on the forefront of your minds, or are you like you're like I'm not worried about that. I've got time. Or do you guys have any inkling of what you're interested in or not, or you feel like you have the resources to get where you want to go?
So for me, I like to. I know this is probably a bad habit. I should probably learn to get away from this, but I like to focus on the future. So like when I'm done with one thing, I'm always picturing what am I doing next? What am I doing next? And sometimes that can get over my head to like the point of where I don't see where I am now.
Mm.
And then like I just screw everything up, and everything that I was thinking about is gone. So and then also because I want to go to college, but the thing is I'm always thinking of what college it is, not where I am now, and how good are my grades and stuff, so I can support myself to go to that college. So that's really what's on my mind.
I think like college is definitely something that's on my mind. A lot of the programs I'm in like keep pushing it. They're like, oh, it's junior year, you kind of already have to figure your stuff out. So it's like, ugh, not looking forward to senior year. But
Yeah, there's definitely like a lot of, I feel like with each generation, each at least decade or 5 years, there's like more pressure on you guys because I mean, it's not college is a lot harder to get into just because there's so many people that want to go to college, so many people around the world that want to go to our colleges. You guys have a lot of like, unfortunately, competition. And there's a lot of stress placed on you guys. It's sad.
I just like to state I did a bit of not, I'd say I looked it up, not really research, but the college that I'm trying to get into, which is Cal Poly.
Nice.
Well, like first I want to go to like do a community college, get like the basic stuff out of the way and stuff. Yeah. Also because I feel like I don't know, I probably need to get this out of my head, but my GPA is not good enough to get in. So I just kind of feel like going through community college will give me like that step up to get into there.
Yeah.
But like, I was looking into it, and apparently it's like 50% of people, like 50 out of 100 people that like try to get in, only 50 are accepted. But then it also comes to if they want it, comes to if they're qualified enough to do it as well. They can get accepted, but that doesn't mean like they're really qualified to stay in there, and they sometimes like leave or something. So the number really is shrinking.
Would you say there's a big, like, there's like a lot increased pressure for you guys to know exactly what you want to do?
I think it could be stressful just because a lot of colleges are like, okay, you have to choose a major. and like they want to see like specifics. So if you have like specifics, oh, you want to go into nursing, but you don't have any like experience, you're not gonna get it. So I feel like you kind of have to figure out what you want to do, or at least like later on you can switch. But to get into college, you kind of have to know what you want, which can be very stressful.
I was a person who changed majors, and I know what that's like when you're like, oh no, this is what I chose. I have to go with this for the rest of my life.
I feel like it is definitely stressful just because the access we have to what majors are like that we can what majors are acceptable, I guess, to where we're able to, I guess, support ourselves and then probably eventually support others as well. Because if you like want a family or something, so it's like it's definitely like harder in a sense. It's much more stressful. You have to like go through all of this work to find something, and then like sometimes you might not even know, like when you're doing it you might not enjoy it, and then switch, and then probably like to have maybe start all over how that works. It makes it stressful.
Is the importance of succeeding after high school, does it feel like an overwhelming amount of pressure for you guys?
I mean, just based off right now, I feel like maybe like once I get out of high school, I don't feel like the work I did there will probably like impact that same thing I'm gonna do later in life. Just because the amount they put on us, I don't think it's gonna be the same shooting back, like shooting forwards into like the future, whatever. Like, cause I've been told by some of my teachers that high school is nothing compared to college. Like in the sense of workload wise, I mean, they say college is more like they don't care if you're there or not. They're just getting paid. What's it called? They're taking, and all you need to do is basically go there, take notes, and then just leave. And if they give you an assignment, you just do it, and that's it. It's basically all it is.
Yeah.
I feel like sorry, go ahead. Actually, like I feel pretty prepared. Like my classes that I'm taking are like challenging enough to like where I know how I'm gonna work when I go to college. So I don't feel overwhelmed like workload wise or like because there's no option to fail. Like I'm gonna have to get it done. Like I'm paying to be there, so
That's a good mindset to have.
Kind of changing gears just a little bit. You guys did is it half of your time in high school was under COVID? How do you feel? How do you think that affected you?
I guess my attitude towards something shifted over COVID because like first year freshman year obviously was online, like throughout the whole thing was online. So it was just I'm like, oh, I'm there. I'm just there to be there, whatever. They can't tell me to do like if I was cheating, because I know I did for sure. I'll be honest, I 100% cheated in most of my stuff. Um, yeah, and like they can't really do anything about it because well we're on a computer, like it's not like they can do much, but like definitely now since like last year, like halfway through they transitioned back into actual school, but you had to wear a mask and everything, and yeah, it was definitely completely different. And then but like and for last year most of my teachers were trying to push it back to how it was before COVID with everything, and I think that just changed how their teaching was, which made it much worse. They weren't even teaching at that point. They were just putting stuff up, like putting, I don't know, like a video up. They're putting some notes up, and then they're expecting you to know how to do it based off just the information you were just provided. And then when you get to like a test or something and you fail, they're like, well, you didn't study hard enough, even though the material wasn't there.
So it was like more of just like showing you things and then just kind of expecting you to know it.
It was more like just, all right, here you go. Now work on your own, pretty much. It's like they didn't really want to be there at that point. I think their mentality changed as well. And now there's, I guess, I don't know the percentage of it, but I feel like more students aren't doing as well as they were because of how the teaching are teaching. So I think they're trying to step back from it, but even them stepping back, I feel like is making it still worse.
For me personally, I feel like I had an opposite experience of that. I really liked online school. Like I worked best like
At your own pace.
Yeah, at my own pace. Like I comprehend. Like I did really good, and I feel like academically wise, it wasn't a big shift. I think it was more of a social shift that really changed because I came from a very small private school going to a public school. So having like a lot of kids in class or like certain events was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people, like, I don't know how to interact, especially after all that time off. So I think that was the big challenge, not so much personally academic, because I was very fortunate to have like teachers and resources available during that time.
You're gonna say something.
Do you guys feel like you see within the groups of people that you're around, do you feel like there's big maturity differences between people with COVID?
Yeah. One of my classes, it's basically it's me like as a junior with a bunch of sophomores. Just because math is different. Some kids take the step forward to another class. So it's like kind of a big difference in a sense. So I guess maturity wise, they act different, but like this is just a personal experience for me. Like in math, I am usually like finishing first because I comprehend things faster. I'm pretty sure I would say than they do. So when I'm finishing faster, I guess I don't know if they're either confused or something because they always like just looking at me and stuff and just like saying how has he done and everything. So I don't know. I think it's just how it's approached.
I think like the COVID kids are like really more reserved. Like you can see it like in the class difference. Like at least like the underclassmen, like they didn't experience that as much. At least like so coming into high school, they're like, oh yeah, let's do it. Or so our classes were like, we're chill. We don't want to do anything. Like, oh, please.
Like, would you say like more reserved
Yeah,
or?
we're more like reserved in a way. Like we won't interact with people unless you're forced. I feel like my class is like that just because we were like on Zoom, and it's just different. Like you could just see the difference in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna say over Zoom they would do things like breakout rooms or something like that. I'm sorry, that was the most awkward thing
That
ever.
sounds kind of cringy.
They would put like certain, I don't know, like 3 to 4 people in one room by themselves, but no one would talk. They would just be screens of the people just sitting there silently waiting for the teacher to pull them back, and then so they can say nothing. And then when they get called on, they have no idea. It's happened to me for sure.
So like when you guys get to college, every class has an icebreaker for some reason, where they try to make you do some sort of activity together. It's not a lot of fun, but especially over Zoom. Like I'm sure you had similar experiences, Kaylee, where like they'd put you in a room. There's like 5 people, no one's talking.
Or everyone turns their cameras.
Yeah, everybody
off,
turns their
no
camera
one wants
off.
to do anything.
Was it kind of like that for you guys?
Yeah, so you were kind of weird if you would talk.
You were weird if you didn't talk?
Like if you talked. Like if you had your camera on,
Oh.
you were like, hi everybody.
Yeah.
Like that was a little like, come
Weird.
on now. The teacher's gone. You
I
could.
feel like that might be for someone who may already be kind of struggling with the social anxiety kind of thing. If they're putting themselves out there, like, oh, let me just say hello, and then people are like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I feel like that kind of carried going back into school. So like, yeah.
So like more people are, would you say like more standoffish?
Yeah, more like reserved. Like if I don't know you, I'm not gonna talk to you. More like that.
It's similar with the same with me, but like I remember one time no one was talking in our breakout room, whatever, and then our teacher comes, some student, and as soon as that happens, some student unmutes and just starts talking about what like over their notes that they had that he provided. I guess he didn't realize that's what they were doing, and when he left, they just muted it, and it was just to make it seem like we were all talking, but it really wasn't.
Do you think you guys have like adapted well socially after COVID?
I'd say it's an on and off switch for me. Definitely. Like it's the reason I say it's an on and off switch. It's based off how familiar I am with that person. If like I've known them for, like I've seen them in some of my other classes, then I'm like, oh, I'm familiar with this person. I feel like I could talk to this person. But if it's like someone I don't know, like completely new, I feel like it's an offside for me. It's like I don't know you, so I'm not gonna really talk to you in a sense. But if I need to talk to you, then I'll talk to them. Yeah, it's. I feel like it's like that, and I also help those people that I'm familiar with just because I know them, and then they've done the same as well, vice versa.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like for everybody. Like you're comfortable with your friends and not so much with other people. But I feel like that's kind of normal, and that means you're doing fine socially. I don't know. Everyone's kind of like that.
All right, so we're gonna switch gears one more time, and I'm gonna ask you guys about something that's I feel like a little. It's definitely newer. It's not newer, but so because you guys have like more access to like social media and the internet, you guys are um, like you guys have a lot more thrown at you as far as like world events. How how much would you say like events going on in the world, or how much would you say that's thrown at you in like your daily lives, wars and politics, problems with everything. How much would you say that's thrown at you?
I feel like that's almost every day now, just based off how much everything is being posted on everywhere. Like for I guess now things really popular TikTok. It's like everywhere. Like so, if like something's happening, it'll be on there or something like that. Or Twitter, still the same thing. It's like just news everywhere, all over that. So it just makes so everything is now like everyone knows about everything, so they're more like caught up with everything and like they know what's happening and stuff like that.
I feel like since it's all over the internet, it's very easy like to go into class and that's what you're gonna be talking about. So like if you're not getting it at home, you're gonna get it in school. Like your teachers are gonna be talking about what's going on. Like I know we would like for my Spanish class, we just talked about Ukraine. And since we're a Spanish class, as long as we're speaking in Spanish, we could talk about whatever we want. So for those like what month we that's all we would talk about. Like that's what we discuss. So I feel like most things that are on the internet you're gonna find at school or something like that.
Mm. Do you feel like do you guys feel like that's a good thing that you guys are so up to date, or do you feel like it's a little overwhelming and like niche?
I feel like it could be both, just based off, I guess, your interests in a sense. Like, I know there's people that are like major history buffs, so when they see like things like wars and stuff happening, they're kind of intrigued into it. So they're like researching, I guess, a bit more into it. There's other people that are like, I guess, music wise, they dig more into that, like when stuff happens. And then others like me, like video games and stuff wise, I dig more into that. See like things that are happening and stuff to that.
I think it's really helpful when your like teachers or like peers who are talking about it stay neutral and don't try to influence like one side or the other, because then it could get overwhelming and quite annoying when they're pushing their beliefs on you. And especially when you're just hearing that like every single class, like it gets a little repetitive.
Do you think that hearing all these opinions about things, does that cloud your judgment when it comes to certain things?
I think it can help. It can cloud, but it could also like help you see different perspectives of how people see it, and ultimately it can influence you, which can be helpful. But at the same time, it can take away from your own personal thoughts as well.
I feel like hearing other people's mixed opinions on things could, like, you can have opinion of yourself before you even hear other people's opinion, but then like sometimes you hear someone's opinion that's like, I guess, not similar to yours or like similar to yours, but having bring up really good points that are backing your opinion up. So I guess you find a sense and like help that push you with what you're thinking about certain things and stuff.
Like kind of like a like confirmation bias.
Yeah, it's like I know, like when you're writing an essay or something like that, how you have to find like different sources in a sense to help you push your argument. I feel like it's the same way, but with other people's mixed opinions, them, I guess, depending on like where they're coming from. Like they don't have to agree with you or disagree with you, but if something is similar to what you're thinking about, I guess it can help with your argument.
Is it pretty often that like world events are brought up in your school days?
Yeah, it's not even in my history class anymore at this point.
Yeah.
It's even in my French class, even though it doesn't have to involve like France or anything. We're always talking about it, and it takes most of the time we don't even get to the things we're gonna do. It's mostly we're just talking about that. So if like something new happened, I don't know, like something new happens this week, we pretty much talk about it throughout the whole class if we don't get to the things we're doing.
Yeah, I think I get it the most obviously in history, but also Spanish, just because my class, as long as we're speaking in Spanish, so Spanish speakers, it's relevant to the class. So we will discuss like whatever's going on, and it's, I guess that's the normal. Like that's how we learn, I guess, as long as we're speaking Spanish. So we discuss a lot of topics, which seems very normal now.
Do you think because you have, or because it's brought up a lot, or I guess like like these world events in your classes and whatnot, because they're brought up more, does that add to like your everyday stress?
No. If anything, it just kind of informs us of what's happening throughout like the world or throughout that day in a sense, but it doesn't really add anything to us or to me per se. Just because what's it called? For me, I just mainly focus on the things that I need to get done, and then if I feel like okay, I remember what we are talking about in someone's class, I'll just check it out and then see just basically what it's about. It doesn't really affect me.
Do you feel like maybe the overwhelming amount of information makes you guys a little jaded to things going on?
Yeah. I feel like I overthink things more now, just with all this information that we're getting from different sources, like our teachers, our textbooks, the internet, all this other stuff. It just makes me overthink certain situations now that I usually never would have if, like, I don't know, if COVID wasn't a thing per se, because the internet literally skyrocketed, like the usage of it, since we had to do everything online and everything. So everything's been more put out through there. It makes me overthink a lot of situations on what's it called. If COVID never happened, how would the world have still continued throughout? How would my high school years be? How everything else would be? It's just completely different from me.
Just to switch gears a little bit. There's, at least from what I've seen, I don't know if you guys see something different. You can tell me, but I know on different parts of the internet, especially for young people, there's a lot of push to be that you have to be okay with things like drugs being legalized. You have to be okay with things like your classmates or whoever that you know, for example, coming out as like gay or something like that. Do you do you guys feel like there's a pressure to like be fine with that, or are you like you're unbothered with it? Or
I think I'm very fortunate. I'm not on the internet, so I don't have to deal with that. But it's honestly, like I feel that at school, like the way people express themselves or how they dress, it's like if you're not okay with it, then you're kind of like off. Like
Like
what's
you're the
wrong with
problem.
you? Yeah.
For me, it's pretty much like I see this stuff happening. I don't really mind if they're not bothering me. It's cool, whatever. But I mean, just based off like everything and like how they push, they're like pushing it to make what's it called? I guess society in this sense make that the new normal now, because now the new normal is switching to whatever. So if you're and all this other stuff's happening, yeah, that's pretty much like I don't know how to put it, but like it's a very off-putting. Like Emily said, it's like you don't really like agree with it. You're pretty much weird now. If your ideas are different than everybody else's, even though you're thinking clear-headedly and not like off of some substance, you're apparently like at least what people at my school are saying, like they're like I guess what's it called, crazy psychotic in a sense, just because you're letting yourself think instead of some other substance think for you, which then makes you push something to push in another direction than like what others are doing.
How does it make you feel? Like the need for acceptance. How does it make you feel?
School wise, I've never needed it. I to be honest. I mean, I was fine with my little group of friends hanging out somewhere else, and that's fine by me. I don't really need to be accepted into a society where you need to be popular in a sense, or you need to be known for something. I could be like chill with just me and my friend group hanging out somewhere and just talking about just what's it called? Like just stuff that we just want to talk about, whether it's about schools, grades, or something like that.
So you're pretty much indifferent.
In a sense, yeah.
What would you say?
I feel like I kind of agree with that. Like, I don't, if you don't like me, okay, you don't have to deal with me. Like, it's not my problem. Like, I'm not gonna go try to push myself on you or change myself for you. Like, oh well, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't really care. Like, I'm cool just being, like, with my group of people. Like, so if you don't like me, that's okay.
For me, it's, what's it called? There's been some of my friends, like change themselves in a sense to fit into like the current society is right now, and that's kind of shifted them and everything. And then like they try to fit in with that current society right now, and it doesn't work out for them. But then they can't really switch back, so then now they're just isolated on their own. And now like. And that's happened to most of my friends. Most of my friends are not even my friends anymore because of what they've done. Like they switch over to like I guess the society way instead of like the normal way that it was before, and then they just ruin everything for themselves.
So do you guys feel like it's kind of a buzzword now, but cancel culture, I guess, and since we're talking about different society, do you feel like that tends to affect people's mindset of how they make their decisions and what opinions they're forming because they don't want to offend someone?
Yeah, I feel like cancel culture now, like literally someone could say something about I don't know their dog, and then someone doesn't like it, they try to cancel them for that. Like you can't really express your own opinions anymore. It's literally like I guess it's like how propaganda, I guess, in a sense, or like cartoons, whatever, like that, political cartoons, in a sense, where how if you drew something and someone didn't like it, they would try to like put some like I guess try to convict you of something else. That's how it is now. You can't really say anything, and I feel like in order for that, like I guess musicians and stuff, they in order to voice their own opinion, they say it through song, but no one really listens to the lyrics at this point, so like they can say whatever they want.
Yeah, I think people definitely have to be mindful of like who's in the room or their beliefs because that can definitely like lead to like you being canceled if you say like something different than what the rest. So that could be quite difficult, I think.
Does cancel culture affect people your age?
No, because well, I feel like cancel culture is really for those who are, in a sense, popular in a society, like famous in a sense. Not so.
Okay.
Like those who have something to lose.
Yeah, like I guess musicians, if they say something wrong, they lose their careers. If what's it called, sports players say something wrong, they lose. I don't know, maybe their I guess contracts they have with a team or their sponsors and something, and then they lose everything because of it. Then they have to go back to what's it called, a regular job or something like that.
I think it does affect us just because like depending on who you're involving yourself with, they could be like toxic in a way. Like if you say something, we're not gonna be your friends. Like it could doesn't even have to be like if you're popular or something. It could just be like if you have different beliefs and you voice them, then you're done. Like you're isolated now. So I think it really just depends on who you're like involved with and like socializing with.
Has it affected you guys personally?
I wouldn't say it affected me personally, but like I guess in the sense of things being like the things that I guess people I like to I guess observe in a sense does affect them, and then it affects their career in a sense. So then Like, I don't know, like in football per se, if you do something people don't like, they'll capture it at that moment, put it on some social media platform, say something else about it, and then it gets a bunch of likes, and they tried canceling that certain person, whatever, and then like yeah, like I said, they lose everything from that, and then it just affects how they are.
I don't think it really affects me because at the same time, like I know who I'm involved with, like, and it's not a toxic environment, which I'm very fortunate. So I think I'm pretty good. I'm chilling.
I like that. You're chilling. I like that.
What do you think for people who aren't necessarily as chill as both of you guys are? What do you feel like separates you from someone who's a little more worried about that kind of stuff and doesn't understand where their priorities should be? Do you feel like what do you feel like might either help them kind of balance their lives out?
I think just coming to terms with the fact that not everyone's gonna have the same beliefs as you, and you gotta suck it up. Like you can't, you're not gonna try to change their minds, and they're not gonna change yours. So you need to be okay voicing your beliefs, and you have to be able to be ready for people to come and attack you, and like you're gonna either gonna change your beliefs or you're going to stay firm. So you need to figure that out, and when you're ready, then I feel like then mentally you'll be able to um like withstand more in a sense and not have everything else affect you, because if you're firm with yourself, then everybody else is just not going to matter.
Very well said.
Yeah.
I guess with me, I know where I want to be in a sense. Like I said, I have a general idea because I always like to see the future of myself, like where everything's going for me. But definitely with my friends, they're not really clear headed, even though they don't really. They're more focused on other things than what they are in school, which then I try to help them by saying, "Hey, focus on this track, whatever," and then and then they just get, I guess, ran over by that instead of it going the other way, where they're, I guess, on top of it. They're now on the bottom of it, and they're trying to get their way back up. Because in order for school, like at school, to get a long lunch per se, because our lunches are usually an hour. You have to have good grades or like a GPA over like a 2.5 per se. Some of my friends don't what's it called under don't they lack that, and then they're what's it called as soon as they get into a thing called tutorial, that's what you have to do if you're failing a class or something, or a class is under the average. You go to that class, you try to fix it pretty much, and then you're able to, and yeah, then they once they're there, then they start focusing on it, but then at that point it's kind of too late to fix it, so then you have to wait for the next time to happen, for like the next period of it to what's it called, then it shifts again.
Well, I guess we're getting ready to wrap up kind of, but kind of as a closing kind of question or a statement, I guess, because for people who are, you know, watching this, or for anybody who's like not currently at your age or in your, you know, in high school in your situation, do you guys have, even if it's something you've already said and you just want to reiterate it, do you guys have something that you just like wish some other people, you know, would just understand, that that you just wish they knew so that you could communicate better, or you're like, this is how my life is going right now and this is what I kind of wish you guys knew?
I think something that's really important to know and just like learn and continue to practice is that like it can be really scary to put yourself out there and try new things, but it's definitely very like helpful and you're going to gain so much. So like even if you're scared, I feel like definitely just go for it. Just try it, because you're going to feel worse like not knowing, like, oh, I could have done that but I didn't because I was too scared. So it's just better to try and fail or just not like the thing that you did than not try it all and have that eat up at you. I think that's something that is really important to learn.
Except for fentanyl.
Yes, don't try.
You don't need to try that. That's okay.
I guess I'd say the what's it called? Try different methods on like in school wise to see how things work. Like if you're usually set to like a certain routine, try to take chances on other things on another routine to see where that leads you. Because I know I've changed my routine multiple times and it's not like none of them work. It's just there's ones that are like, okay, this one works better in this situation than some of the other. And I feel like people that are I guess straight A based, like throughout all their school years, whatever, they are afraid to take chances like that. So if they switch their plan, they might fall back.
One more thing, I just want to say that it's better to involve yourself with a few good people than a lot of like mediocre or toxic people, just because in the long run it's just going to be so much better for you as a person and your mental health.
I agree. All right. That wraps up another episode of The Basement. Thank you guys once again for joining us. I know you guys are, just busy. Thank you for joining us for this. We're going to go ahead and close out. Kaylee, would you like to pray?
Sure, I love to pray. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for being with us today as we film this episode. And please let our message reach as many people as it can, and people who hear these stories today will be able to be influenced by you in the future. In your name, amen.
Amen.